Hi there. So I was scrolling Facebook earlier, and this lady posted the most beautiful St. Patty's Day cup I've ever seen. She did an ombre of light to dark green, placed 4-leaf clovers and the one with and without stem all over it, spray painted it, peekabooed it. It was absolutely beautiful. So I want to do one for Valentine's. Got a rose gold here. Yes, queen. It's got a little bit more gold in it than my hollow rose gold, which is really pretty. I've got Taka, which is a really deep berry color. And then I've got Sweet Sangria. All of these have holographic to them. I wanted them to kind of flow with each other. But see, Deep Sangria is really pretty purple. It's a little brighter in person than it's showing on screen. But we're going to do a thin layer of epoxy here, and then I'm going to ombre all three of those. Please ignore my paint job. It was windy, and I'm not really good at spray painting anyways, but that really isn't going to matter. This is going to cover that. This is candy pink Rustoleum, by the way. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy and do a super thin layer, and then we'll get started on that ombre. I have 15 mixed up. I'm only going to use 4-ish. The rest I'm going to use on another cup that I'm working on. So we want to go super thin. If you end up with thick spots, your glitter will kind of sink, and then you'll end up with those kind of smooth areas. You won't really see the same glitter texture throughout. I'll show you what I mean if it comes up. It probably will. You just got to add more glitter in those situations. So we're going to go super thin, thin as we can go, without having dry spots. Be sure to get your rim really good and right here really good. I struggle with this. I feel like it kind of tries to separate on me more often than not. I'll let this rotate for a little while, and then I'm going to check it for any thick spots and dry spots before we start glittering. Dry spots are definitely a pain. Not the end of the world, but a pain to try and recover from or fix, camouflage, whatever you want to call it. If there's any thicker spots, it's easy to just add more glitter. And I used about 3-ish milliliters. It's below the 15, but not quite down to, it's above the 10. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna slide this over, do this on the other cup. We don't want to wait too long because we only have about a 20-minute work time. We're pretty smooth here. I don't see any dry spots. I don't see any thick spots, minus my really bad paint job, of course. So let's get started. There's all kinds of ways that you can ombre. Some people like to do the waterfall method like this. If I was doing just 2 colors, I would probably go ahead and do that. But I want to do it this way so I can control kind of how far down it goes. So I like to go a little thicker on my main solid spot, and then I'll go a lot lighter starting from there, or starting after that little spot there. So let's get this on here. I don't want any super hard lines. Even though what I'm going to do is going to camouflage it pretty good, I still don't want super hard lines. So now I'm just a little higher up, and I'm tapping it a little softer so that it kind of spreads. You see it? I should have shaken this up. This is a mixture. That gold is kind of obvious right there, but that's okay. We're going to wing it. I can see the super fine just kind of floating in the air. This epoxy base is so thin that we don't even have to worry about turning this afterwards. I usually do because I'm paranoid, but reality, or in theory, it should be so thin that that's not even necessary. This particular mix has a couple different sized cuts in it compared to my other colors I'm about to use. But for what we're doing with it, it really won't be noticeable. I could have used the hollow rose gold, but I really like this color. It's got a little, just the right amount of pink and gold. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with this one right now. I'm going to slide this over, get a fresh parchment, and I'm going to do the bottom. Went a little higher up than I intended before getting my good blend, but that's okay. We can still work with it. I don't want that harsh line right there. And I absolutely have a harsh line. I don't recommend tapping your cup because you could end up contaminating. Unless you want to tap it in a different spot, of course. Like over the trash or like a dump jar paper. Okay. This is already falling off, so I'm going to go ahead and tap it over the trash. Okay. Surprisingly, more of that lighter color fell off than anything. So we're going to go more solid here in the center and then kind of fade it out, top and bottom. Usually I don't use a fast set for this, but I'm trying to get the feel for that quick coat, so I wanted to kind of play with that. But normally I would give myself a lot more work time than what I just did. That's okay. Ombres are not my strong suit. They definitely take a lot of practice. Definitely better than when I started. But man, some people are bomb.com amazing at ombres. It's probably a patience level, a skill, a little bit of all kinds of characteristics I'm sure come into play when it comes to that. All right, so now I want to blend this better. It's not horrific, but it's pretty bad right now. So what I want to do is get way up high. It's going to be a little off camera, and just sprinkle right over that connection there where those two colors come together. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I don't want a lot coming out at one time. That's how we end up with those big old dark spots, just like that. That just did that right as I was saying that. All right, I'm gonna tap this off, and then we're gonna go back to each of those colors. And we're just going from up high, nice and thin, right below that line that we are working on blending. I'm pretty happy with that right there. Now let's do the bottom one. Had a little bit of an oops moment right there. Let's see if I can't camouflage it with some more pink. I'm pretty happy with that. I did the top, the bottom, then the middle, kind of spread that out, and then went back over it with each of those colors. And then just now, while I was trying to cover up that little oops spot right there, which wasn't very successful, I kind of barely sprinkled it up here as well. I am going to go ahead and do just a little bit more right there though. Okay. And now we wait. I'm going to let this cure. I'm going to go to bed. We're going to seal this before epoxy. That way we don't have a whole bunch of rose gold way down here and sangria way up there. And then Taka on all of it. Real quick though, I am going to go one more time around this to kind of blend it a little bit more. Super light. I thought that I had initially come up too high with this darker color, but I don't think I did. And I don't see any spots that look like they had too much epoxy on them to show you kind of what the oil slick spots look like. So that's good. Okay. She's going to bed. Just kidding. I'm going to bed. It's so pretty. Right now, it's not very pretty because I sanded it. But I've got a pretty good layer of epoxy on here. And then I kind of smoothed out some of my rougher spots. I don't plan on putting any hearts right here, so I wasn't super concerned that I filed or I sanded through to my glitter in like one or two spots. But that's okay. That's not what I'm worried about right now. So I have these that I cut out. I just went ahead and used stencil vinyl since the other vinyl that I was using was not cooperating and it was making me a little bit irritated. So I'm just going to randomly place these all over. And this is just a generic heart that I drew on Silhouette Studio. So we're just going to go random, sporadic, all over. It's so tricky getting the spacing to be like doable and not like your OCD, which I am not OCD, and some people this would drive them absolutely crazy. It's so hard to get that placing that your brain and your eyes can imagine what it looks like. So I'm going to go do a couple of light layers. I do not want to run the risk of my paint running. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to record it because it is pitch black outside. It's like not even 7 o'clock and pitch black. So I'm going to go do a layer of black spray paint, let that dry, come back out, do another layer until I have full coverage. Then we'll come back and we'll peel off all of those hearts. Whatever stencil you're doing, just make sure that your edges are down just as flat as they can be. That way you don't have to worry about paint working its way underneath it. I gotta brag on myself just a minute. That is probably one of my best paint jobs I have ever done. Matt tends to not have as high of a risk of running. I think that's a thing. It may just be my particular luck. I am very aware of where I didn't get my stuff sanded as good as I thought I did, but that's okay. We're going to put Cosmic, which is just a super fine, in here. We'll probably do a little bit of Cosmic. This is from Fran's. and a tiny bit of smog, like from Lord of the Rings. From Feather Bear, it's gold. So then we'll have silver and gold, kind of both holographic, just a teensy bit of each for our next layer of epoxy. I think that'll be really pretty. And it'll also help camouflage any of our imperfections there. For this part, after your paint is dried, which I've done this before without waiting for my paint to dry, but I had time to wait this time. So now you're going to very carefully peel up each piece of vinyl. You want to make sure not to scratch your paint job there, because sometimes it's kind of hard to camouflage it. I'm pretty excited. It's going to be so cute. And with that shimmer in the next coat of epoxy, it's going to be even better. It's so cute. Anyways, I'm going to do this and move on. Have a little bit of epoxy mixed up here. Got a couple projects going, so more than I need. It's only going to take maybe 6 or 7 milliliters to coat this. But before I do anything, I'm going to put a splash of Cosmic in here. Just the tiniest little bit. It's very satisfying watching it kind of dissipate into the epoxy. And then the other one is Smog. Both of these are so pretty and like the perfect addition to any layer of epoxy. But I didn't want to commit myself to just silver or gold. When in doubt, use both. Once this is spread on here, it won't look so dense. All right, here we go. I'm not using a fast set. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you. Okay, I'm going to stop recording here so I can do a grand reveal in just a minute. I'm going to block my camera with painter's tape. You ready? It's so pretty. I've got my flash on and everything. It's so pretty. I love it so much. It will need one more coat of epoxy, but this is all I need to show you what I need to show you. I love it so much. What I was saying earlier before I completely squirreled is I'm not using a fast set epoxy. I'm just using the regular Amazing Clear, the Alumilite. I can't talk. So no, Amazing Clear Cast is right. Alumilite, Amazing Clear Cast. I just got it at Joann's a couple months ago. This is not the fast set version though. So anyways, the base glitters are all from Franz. The spray paint was just Rustoleum 2X flat black. The hearts, I just cut out a stencil. I just drew the design myself. You could find a shape on clip art or whatever. Just use whatever you want there. I honestly could have put a whole lot more of the big ones on here, and I might do that for my next one. But your options are wide open. You can do pretty much every holiday. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. I'm going to put a picture of the inspo for this that I saw in a Tumblr group. I just have to message the lady to see if she wants me to hide her name or if she wants credit. But anyways, I am in love with this so hard. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. I'll put links to everything that I can in the description. And thanks for watching. Have a good one. And happy Valentine's Day.